Hey guys, it's Core Ross and welcome to 6 News. So we have a brand new test every day with a range of different changes. So we've got things like leaning on controller without ADSing. We've got a rework to shields and some balancing changes as well. So to begin with, like a little disclaimer, this is a lab test server. So this is testing future content. This is not the mid-season patch. But parts of it will make it into the mid-season. However, stuff like the shield rework will make it into the next season's launch, which of course will be the start of year 9. So let's jump into my testing. So when it comes to leaning on controller without ADS, and you simply ADS and lean, and then you come out of the ADS and you'll stay leaning. And this is a toggle that you can change in the settings. It's a very simple solution for the problem that the game has had. It's kind of crazy, we're almost a decade into Siege, and they've just added this feature in, or they will be once this feature goes live, which might be with the mid-season. Relatively simple, it seems to work okay, and I think people will probably enjoy it. I don't know if it's quite as seamless as people would like, but you'll also have customization of controller entire buttons soon, so maybe there'll also be an option to just change a button that will also make it so you can lean without ADS and give up something else in return. But certainly this feature is quite intuitive and quite simple to use, so it should be probably something most people will end up switching on. Then we've got our rework to the shield mechanics. So this is very different. You're going to have to relearn how to play as a shield operator entirely. And there's many buffs and nerfs all merged into one here. So first of all, your gun is behind your shield, so you're more protected. You can also free look from behind your shield, which is awesome. And like this is great for, like, say, walking up to a doorway, and then instead of moving your shield to be less protected, you can look around to look for, say, traps and stuff. Really works incredibly well. You can also now sprint with your shield. That's for Monty, Blitz, and Fuse. And presumably there'll be more shield operators, like let's just imagine Thermite gets a shield or something like that in the future. There's going to be a few more shield operators added in. It's going to be very scary for defenders. You can also pop through fully intact barricades as well very quickly. This is kind of similar to what Osa can do, but I would say this is even more seamless. However, you have lost the ability to hip fire. You'll now need to aim down your sights in order to fire your weapon. But a positive is you can reload your weapon behind the shield. You can also throw smoke grenades and other gadgets from behind the shield, which looks a bit weird. That's one animation they might need to work on. And then you're still able to melee with the shield, but it's no longer an insta down. It'll do a little bit of damage and also do a knockback effect. So far less lethal, but also going to be kind of scary to have a shield bolting up to you and whacking you, and you go flying through a wall or something like that. You're also still able to melee holes in the wall with the shield, which doesn't look right because of course you're hitting it with the blunt side of the shield now, and that really just does not look like you should make a hole. I don't think you should actually do any destruction to stuff like soft walls. There's also a new suppression mechanic, which means when your shield is taking fire, you can no longer engage your sprint. Now this makes you go a little bit slower and will give the defenders a little bit more time to deal with you. However, if you have Blitz, Fuse and Monty all running at you with shields, this is going to be very scary. And if they do add the shield to a couple more operators and you can 5-stack shields, it's going to be super scary to have these guys bolting at you while you're on defense. And I could even see maybe them giving the shield back to recruit as well at this point. Now, of course, defenders also have their own shield operator in the way of Clash. She also gets the debuff, which stops her from sprinting, but because she can't actually sprint, it doesn't impact her. However, the new knockback effect that is on the shield operators means if they're able to come in and get a attack off on a soft side of Clash, she'll get pushed back and her shield will go away. So she's actually got quite a decent little nerf here. But you can also say that in the previous melee that shields could do, that would have just outright killed her. So it's not the biggest of nerfs, but certainly for a Clash player, you're going to have to watch out for these shield operators pushing up and meleeing you and knocking you down. And then overall, it's going to be very hard to figure out if this is a good or bad change to the Ballistic Shields. And even though it's on the test server, I don't think enough players will actually play it. There's also a survey that Ubisoft has out. You can go give feedback, so I'll have that link down in the description below if you want to go give your feedback and say what you think. And I'm just worried about potentially a 5-stack of shields in the future, or just a shield TDM meta starting, because everyone's already rushing into sight already. What's going to happen when you can do that with a whole bunch of shields that can sprint? So I'm a bit worried, but we'll certainly see. And taking away like the insta kill from a shield melee, I think that's quite good, but will it all balance out quite well? And a big thanks to Kudos here for helping out with the testing. He just recently hit 100,000 subscribers, so that's awesome. And we also tested a bunch of other stuff out. So for instance, the suppression effect doesn't seem to affect putting down the diffuser. The impact grenades and echo also seem to still impact the shields as normal, knocking them back, making them more vulnerable targets. So when it comes to fighting shields, a lot of the stuff is still very much the same. And I think it's the shield operators who are going to have the harder time kind of relearning the new mechanics, but if they can master them, I think it could make them extremely powerful. And having a Monty sprinting at you is scary. There's also a few bugs here where Kudos was able to instantly go from his shield to a melee and stuff like that, so there's definitely still bugs that need to get fixed out, and this is why it's on the lab test server rather than being on the mid-season test server, or of course coming with the next patch. This is still going to be at least a good month away. We're talking next season when the shield change will come. Now let's talk about the rest of the patch notes. And I'll try and highlight what I think is going to be coming with the mid-season and what will be coming later. So Ace's hard breaching charge now takes 4 seconds to go off rather than 3.2. So this is a perfectly good change, I think, because he was already excellent. He could hard breach walls at range and pretty much just as quick as Thermite. This will put him a little bit behind that, so I think this is actually a very good change. And then Maverick is getting smoke grenades added to his kit. Thunderbird's getting deployable shield added to her options, and then Capcan is getting the bulletproof camera but losing impact grenades. Then of course we have the ballistic shield change, so ability to sprint when the shield is engaged, ability to push through full health barricades, ability to free look, which is awesome, ability to throw projectiles from behind the shield, so of course you see that with the smoke grenade, ability to carry the hostage with the shield equipped, a new melee animation, a new reload animation, a new gadget throw animation, a new gadget trigger animation, because you again trigger it from behind your shield. Hipfire has been removed. Melee now deals some damage and a pushback effect, so it will no longer just instantly down an operator. And when the shield is taking incoming fire, you will now get a new debuff on the shield operator, which is called Suppressed, and this will stop you from being able to sprint. This seems to be mostly effective with shotguns hitting the shield. SMGs have lesser an effect, and then pistols even lower, and then DMRs, because of the low fire rate, will also be quite limited in their suppression capabilities. Then we have some balancing changes to weapons. So the G36, they increased the vertical recoil and horizontal recoil. Then we've got the SMG11, they've reduced the damage to 32 from 35, so quite a small change there. And then the Spaz 15, which is Cav's weapon, that has had reduced first kick shot and increased lateral recoil. So overall, I feel like that's actually a buff. When I played with it in game, I felt like it actually was performing better than usual because of that reduced first shot kick. And the increased lateral recoil didn't seem to be too bad at all. And then there's a range of bug fixes, along with one that people will be very happy to finally see after years, literal years, of Cav's elite silencer not being able to be equipped properly. It apparently is going to be fixed, so we'll see. But if that is the case, that has literally been broken for many years. But anyway guys, that is the lab test server that's up right now. You can go play it, and like I said in the description below, there's also a survey. You can go fill that in to give your feedback on this change with the shields. This is the lab test server, so this is not the mid-season balancing, but presumably the balancing changes that are in here for the small changes to like Ace, Maverick, Thunderbird, Capcan, the G36, SMG11, the Spaz 15, presumably that all will make it into the mid-season balancing, and the Ballistic Shield rework will be coming later. But anyway guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.